here.
Hi guys.
And we're live at Errol Street Chiropractic. Now, if you love exercising, love looking after your body, and you want to know how to do a squat properly, then stick around. And especially if you've got lower back issues and you want to get back to doing squats, or you're doing squats and you haven't done them before and they're giving you some lower back issues, or you just really want to, just get back to the basics with your squats.
Or just check your technique and make sure what you're doing corresponds with what we're kind of going to tell you today as well.
Then do stick around. So when we're looking at squats, we're going to be looking at a few areas. So what are we looking at?
So technique to begin with. So looking at how you should be setting yourself up before you actually get into the movement of a squat.
Right.
What muscles you should be activating when you are doing the squat, and it just gives you a bit more of an overview about what your squat or what your movement's actually targeting, what benefit you're getting out of it, and then how to kind of change up your squat as well. So how to make, if you're a beginner, how to add a few things in that can help you progress your technique, and also how to make your squat a little bit more dynamic.
Fantastic. All right. So let's start with the technique. So what about, how do we start? What's the best position how do we position our feet?
All right, to start with now, unfortunately on the video you can't actually see that, I just realised. All right, so to start with, you want your feet just to slightly turn out, okay? So it doesn't have to be a huge turnout, but you just want them to be just slightly out of that kind of neutral footing. So just a slight turnout, and that will just help with the kind of angle of your hips as well, all right? So the other thing is that you can vary how far out your legs are. So you can widen your stance, you can come in to a more like hip width, and then you can come out to more like a sumo squat as well. And I think sometimes that really varies for people depending on their hip mobility as well. I find sometimes when my hips are tight, I find I get a lot more range and a lot more out of it when I do a bit more of a sumo squat through my hips as well. Okay, so firstly just looking at your feet and making sure your body is nice and front on, so you're looking straight ahead as well. All right.
What about our back?
Our back. So we want our back to be in a nice neutral position. All right. So we're always going to have a little bit of that curve showing through our back, so that natural lordosis. But as we come down, we want our bottom to travel out and our chest to come forward, and we want our back to stay straight. So exactly how Lisa's going now, as she comes down, her bottom tracks out, her chest comes slightly forward, and her back is nice and straight. So she's not rounding through her spine, and she's keeping all those those muscles on your back nice and activated as well. Okay, so we're looking at our feet stance, our back nice and neutral, keeping our knees out as well. And so as we come down into our squat, we also need to look at how our knees are tracking. So we want our knees to come out over our ankles, but not any further over our toes, all right? So just slightly over ankles, but in line with our toes. So you don't want your knee going over your foot, if that makes sense, as you track down into your squat, because that will mean that your bottom isn't going out further enough and you're just more pulling your chest too far forward, okay? So we need our knees to track in line with our toes. And as we squat down, we want the weight to go into the back of our feet, so into the heels, the balls of our feet, but we should be able to wriggle our toes. So if you can't wriggle your toes during the squat, it means you're putting too much weight forward as well, okay? So with the squat as well, we really need to make sure that we're activating our core. So that's another thing we need to do before we actually get down into the movement. So we set our feet up, we've got our stance ready, we squeeze our belly button, so we draw our belly button into our spine, but while we're doing that, we want to create a nice contraction through our abs, or a deep layer of our core, but we also need to make sure it doesn't pull our shoulders up around our ears or stop us from taking a nice natural breath. So it's a contraction of the muscle, so drawing your belly button to spine, keeping your shoulders nice and neutral, and then as you contract, you come down, and those knees track in line with our toes, our bottom sticks out, our chest forward, and our back nice and straight, and then we come up. And the other muscle we need to look at is our glutes, because squats are quite a glute dominant exercise. So you can either squeeze your glutes in line with your core as you come down, and then keeping your glutes squeezed as you come up, or you can contract your core, come down, and then as you come up, squeezing your glutes as well, okay? I sometimes find that if I squeeze my glutes on the way down and up, it just gives me another layer of protection around my spine as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. And the knees. So when Britt was saying about putting that pressure, driving those heels into the ground, then that will help to activate the muscles on the inside of our knee, which are really, really important to strengthen if we're having knee issues. Yeah. They really help to keep that patella, that kneecap, tracking well.
So our squats are our core and they're glute dominant, but they're also really important for strengthening our quadriceps muscle, and that's that component, that inside muscle component of our quads, and also our hamstrings as well. So it's good for any knee weakness or knee issues. Your squats are really good for building that stability through them as well.
And it's practice, isn't it?
If
you've never done them before and you're hearing of everyone doing squats, then just follow the techniques, even just do 2 or 3. And make sure you're just doing them properly. So it's important not to overdo it, because you could be there doing 100 squats and you're really not doing them properly. So it is
quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
And you can assist yourself as well if you're just trying to work on getting some depth through your squats. If you're not someone who has done many squats in the past, a chair or a stool is really good to put behind you. It's almost like you think of your squat like you're sitting down to sit on a seat. So as your bottom touches the seat or the stool, there you go, and then you come up as well. So that's something that can really help you. And you can do that as well, even if you have done a lot of squats in the past. You can lower your stool, and that's a nice way if you're just trying to work on getting a bit more depth into your squat. But you can make your squats a little bit more dynamic as well. So you can work on some other muscle areas while you're working on your core and your glute stability. So as Lisa's doing, you can just do body weight and just do some arm movements, and that just makes them a little bit more dynamic, and it just challenges your balance a little bit as well. You can use a weight, so you can just hold it in front of you and squat down. You can do like a front press or something like that with a light weight. If you've got dumbbells, as you come up, you can draw them up above your head. So just, all within your range of ability as well, but you can make them a little bit more dynamic, and you can use a TheraBand. So you can pop it around your legs, and you can squat down, or you can do some crab walks like Lisa is, and that helps as well before you to keep your body and your core engaged by staying in that actual squat and doing some movements with that. That's a nice way of keeping some glute activation, but also working on that stability through your knees.
And that glute one is great, especially for women. We find that the glute med tends to get weak with women. So, you can even just do some, simple ones.
The band really makes it more glute heavy. You really feel your glutes a lot more if you put that band just above your knees when you do your squat. And you can always come down and you can pulse your legs out against the band. So there's heaps of different stuff you can do.
You can just do a whole workout for squats.
Yeah, you can.
But there's lots of technique and lots of tips there, guys, just to refine if you're already doing it, to, give you all the best tips for those who've never done squats before. And especially if you're getting some lower back pain and you might just want to refine, your squats. But also if you find that you've changed up your squats after watching this, and after a little while you're still getting that lower back pain, then, just give your therapist a call, whether it's your chiropractor, your osteo, your physio, whoever you normally see, and really get that lower back addressed if you are having issues. So don't leave it. Your body's trying to tell you something.
Yeah, it's not your squats, it's your spine.
It might be your spine. So, I think that was great. Thanks, Dr. Britt. I've warmed up now.
Yeah, I know. If you have any more questions though, or you want some further advice, contact us. We love kind of helping you guys and engaging with you guys as well, especially during this time when you're all at home doing your home workouts. Yes. You'll probably be finding that a lot of your home workouts involve squats as well. So
beautiful. All right, well, send us your video of your squats if you're not sure. We might be able to point out some things. But otherwise, thanks, Britt. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.